U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed doubts about Russia's desire for peace following a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of Pope Francis' funeral. It comes as Russia says its military has regained control of its Kursk region, which was captured in a cross-border incursion by Ukrainian forces last year. But Kyiv disputes the claim.
Russian soldiers patrol the streets of Kursk after claims by Moscow that the region is back under its control. Parts of the territory were captured in a surprise Ukrainian incursion last August. Kyiv has denied that its forces have been pushed out and maintains that it still holds some positions despite what it calls a difficult situation. In a televised interview with President Putin, the head of the Russian army also acknowledged North Korea's involvement in the war for the first time.
I would like to note the participation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the liberation of the Kursk region. In accordance with the Treaty on the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership between our countries, it provided significant assistance in the defeat of the invading group of the Ukrainian armed forces.
The announcement followed a meeting between the US and Ukrainian presidents minutes before Pope Francis' funeral. The White House described the meeting as very productive, with Zelensky saying it had the potential to become historic. Shortly after departing, as Zelensky went on to meet British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron, Trump posted on Truth Social that there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want the war to stop, and questioned if Putin has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. It was the first meeting between Trump and Zelensky since February's irascible Oval Office press conference. But Saturday's talks in the grandeur of St. Peter's Basilica appear to have, at least temporarily, smoothed over relations between the two leaders.
Olivia Janczyk is with the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center, and she gave us her assessment of the meeting between Trump and Zelensky in the Vatican.
Well, I would definitely say that this meeting marks a critical shift compared to the Oval Office debacle in February, whereas this was a very private meeting between the two presidents. And I think this time both Zelensky and Trump found the time and willingness to want to meet at the Vatican, which was a symbolically very powerful moment and one that was definitely a very good step. In terms of what's different, I would say that Trump is more explicitly skeptical of Putin now, as seen in his Truth Social post, which suggested Putin might be stringing him along. And there's also a growing political heat in that Trump understands that continuing to demand unreasonable concessions from Ukraine, like of recognizing Crimea as Russian, may now carry domestic political risks.
And do you think that shift or that change in the way Trump is expressing his view of Putin will result in some kind of shift in U.S. strategy towards Russia?
I absolutely do think so. I think that Trump is not someone that wants to be played a fool. And a lot of his premise along being able to get this peace deal finalized was premised on the idea that Putin wanted to negotiate. And if that is given to no longer be true, then Trump is going to face public pressure and also feel his own pressure to basically change his approach in order to maintain what he has considered a very strong America First policy.
And the Kremlin is saying that Russia is ready for direct negotiations with Ukraine without preconditions. Do you see that happening soon?
I think that it does seem like there is movement toward direct negotiations, particularly following the Witkoff-Putin meeting in Moscow. However, both sides have agreed to hold further negotiations, which is an important step, but it is early. So we definitely still think, and I still think, Putin is playing for time and position, and Trump's pivot, publicly questioning Putin's sincerity, could add pressure to force more serious engagement. However, the caveat is though negotiations are likely, an actual durable peace settlement is still distant.
It's Olivia Janczyk from the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center.